Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust meeting for August 3rd. And our chairman and vice chairman are absent today, so we need to appoint a chairman pro tem for this meeting. Do I hear a motion?
I move to appoint J.W. as chair.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion?
You're up.
Okay, motion's approved.
Chair. Sorry, Carrie. Yes, that's okay.
First item on the agenda is approve the minutes for the last meeting, July the 20th, 2010, Oklahoma City Public Trust School Trust meeting. I recognize a motion.
So moved.
Second. Cast your votes. Thank you. The next item is Suburban School District application for funding. Approve application for funding for Midwest City Dale City Public School District door replacement, East Side Elementary School. Want to approve these all at one time?
I can sure help you with that, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, let me address each of these three, and if you have questions on any of these, please feel free to ask. First application is from Mid-Dale, $11,975. It is door replacement at East Side Elementary School. All three of these are actually from Mid-Dale. The second, $28,289. Gymnasium floor at Tinker Elementary School. And then the final application from Mid-Dale, $163,873. This is for bleachers at both the Dale City and the Midwest high schools. We do have a representative here from the school district if you have any questions.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second. Cast your vote. Approved. Thank you. The next item is approve the schematic design report for Rancho Village Elementary School project ES0061.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have two presentations for you this afternoon. The first is Rancho Village. One of the items that I'm going to bring to your attention, as a part of the schematic design process, it was discovered that the school is a specialty school for the district and that it has extra special needs classrooms that are not part of our typical educational specification. And so the cost estimate that you're going to find today exceeds that of the budget that's identified in the PIP. We can answer questions and we'll go through that as we look at that, but as part of your memo, you'll see it's $741,000 being projected over that budget due to those additional classrooms. But with that, TAP Architecture is here and we can answer questions following the presentation.
Well, my name's David Forgy. I'm with TAP Architecture, Oklahoma City. Here to present Rancho Village Elementary School ES0061. First, I'd like to take a look at the existing conditions. Once we toured the facility, we found that there's been a lot of vandalism in the area, a lot of graffiti. It's not a very secure location, but they've done the best with what they've had. The building was built in 1949 and is showing her age a little bit. The interior conditions are about the same as the exterior. They're showing their age. The ceiling tile is starting to fall out. The conduit, or several things that run on surfaces of structures. The current restroom facilities do not meet handicapped or accessible requirements. Some of our design approach to repair or replace we plan on repairing the existing paving. There's some heavy wear. Currently, we're going to add additional parking. Currently, the drop-off lane functions adequately. The facade of the building needs definite care, treatment, and remediation of what may be mold or just efflorescence. We're going to replace all the windows in the structure, make them more energy efficient, rework it, since it is I would call it a magnet school for multiple handicapped kids. We're reworking every walk and entry to verify that that it is compliant with current codes. Replacing the roof on the structure also. Security fencing was a big issue. Just trying to keep the community away from the school during off-school hours. That's when they have most of their vandalism occur. And add landscaping. New playground equipment will also be part of this budget. And access control with the security cameras, lighting. In the interior, we're going to replace the flooring. The old flooring, it appears, is asbestos. New ceilings, lights, renovate all the restrooms to make them compliant, add restrooms necessary to meet current codes, repair and paint any exterior doors, frames, add new millwork where necessary in the classroom. A lot of the millwork's in really good shape. And one of their big items is a stair lift to the stage. They currently don't have any way to get their wheelchair-bound kids on the stage. And electrical outlets to meet current codes. And a big one's the fire suppression system, which also is one of the considerations for our cost increase. Currently, the yellow portion that you see there is the existing building. What we're proposing with the new addition allows us to overbuild some of the existing corridors, which allows us to get fire suppression and to condition those corridors which currently are not. So this school is a bit different because of the multi-handicapped classrooms and where they are located in accordance with the drop-off lanes. The staff would prefer that the kids stay where they are bunched, not spread throughout, just because it's easy for them to drop off and pick up. It's right at the bus access. And then the existing classrooms, for the most part, stay existing classrooms. We're adding, the new construction will be some classrooms, art, media, library, and computer labs.
What I might add, if we go back to that slide just briefly to give you some perspective, is the purple classrooms that are in the lower left of your drawing.
Yes.
Are those special needs classrooms. Typically on a school of this size, we might provide one or two. And what you'll see here is there's 4 that are dedicated just to the school, and there's some additional special areas that are in the upper parts of the plan as well. But this exceeds what we were mentioning on the educational specifications, which is one of the contributing factors to it being over cost.
And I'd like to add, it was 2 classrooms programmed for this size facility that were about the size of 1.5 of those existing classrooms. But because of this special equipment and everything, there's no way for them to shrink those down. And still, they have apparatus hanging from the ceilings and training equipment, rehab equipment in there. The budget for the project for the renovation was $1.74 million. The addition budget was 1,795 for a total of $3.5 million. And our estimate that for the option we're proposing, the renovation is 1.9 million, which is slightly more. The addition is 1.8 million. The corridor number is the cost that it's going to take to raise the ceilings in the corridor to make those really code compliant, and bring in a total of $4,277,592, which is the $741,000 over budget, as Eric had mentioned. Our schedule is to complete the preliminary report in September, final plans in January of next year, bidding in April of next year, and starting construction in May, about the time school gets out 2012. And it's aggressive, but we hope we can get there. And with that, I would ask if there are any questions.
Any comments?
If you could go back to the slide that showed the perimeter of the building, that one, yeah.
Yes, sir.
You stated the goal of security fencing to keep the community out of the school. Can you kind of go over where that fencing would be?
Okay, right now we have these, what we're proposing is creating outdoor classrooms, and I phrased it improperly, keeping the community out. It's a community building. They have an issue with gang problems after dark, so what we need to do is light this facility, and we want to create those courts in between the buildings, make those outdoor classrooms. So, yes, so there'll be a gate, a portal, a learning portal, as we call it in the office, that'll be open during the day, and then at night they will shut that porthole. The building will be lit and with security. And part of the problem is the corridors on the building are so low that the kids can just jump up there and they're on top of the building, and then they can get the rocks. And so I think it will have very minimal impact on the aesthetics of the building. It won't detract from the building at all. It's not going to look like a prison or anything like that. It'll be very tastefully done, and with the thought of how it interacts with the community.
Thank you.
So again, just to clarify, it's to close up the courtyards to secure those interior courtyard spaces. I mean, there is some limited site fencing that we typically see on most of the elementary schools, but the areas that we're seeing most of the destruction and vandalism is in those little green spaces that you see between the yellow classroom wings that are shown on this drawing. And so it's to enclose those like we would on any of our schools, and that's something that we've done on a variety of MAPS projects.
Question. So will that include that space to the left where you've got, looks like there's the circular driveway and then a sidewalk in between the future gym and that walkway there? There's a little courtyard there as well to the left. So will it include having a learning portal there? Do you not see the need?
Right where she has her cursor currently? Yes, there will be.
And how about assuming that north is still up here, the addition? There seems to be a little area right there that's...
The addition, we're hoping, we are planning there, but the addition will be higher, have more elevation to it. But yes, we're planning on all those inlets to have the learning portal.
Can you tell me on the playground equipment, will that have components that are accessible to children with special needs as well?
Yes, it will. And the playground equipment they currently have also has accessible equipment.
Okay, great.
Any other comments? If not, I'd recognize a motion to approve this.
I move to approve the schematic design.
We have a second?
Second.
Cast your vote. Motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is approve the preliminary report for Cleveland County Elementary School Project ES 0057.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the second and final presentation that we have for you this afternoon. It's preliminary report for Cleveland Elementary. We do have David Hornbeek here with Hornbeek Blatt to present and answer any questions you might have.
Good afternoon. I appreciate this opportunity to show you our preliminary design. If you remember, we presented a schematic design on this previously, and nothing has changed in terms of what we showed you. It's an 18,400 square foot addition to be added on to an approximately 32,200 square foot building. This is the site plan looking from above, and this is our proposed plan now. This was our Scheme 3 also that was recommended. Currently, this building faces 23rd Street, and its front door looks at 23rd Street, but no one uses that front door. And so the main entrance is from the north and off of the parking lot. With that in mind, we're not going to change the orientation of the parking lot. We realized that we needed to create some sort of a better identification of an entry rather than just this one door in the back that was rather innocuous. And so our proposal is that there'll be a new entry in the corner of that L between the proposed addition and the new building. And we're proposing to move the administration offices adjacent to that so that there will be maximum security and that all visitors entering into the building will have to check in with the administration. And another site issue that we had was that on 24th Street was where the parents would all queue up, and the site drops off dramatically to the north and to the west, so that in inclement weather, rain and or ice or sleet and snow, the children had to walk quite a distance to get picked up by their parents. What we're going to propose is for a new drop-off on 24th Street, and then the wing, the new proposed wing, will actually have an entrance for students only. The buses can pull in there and drop off as well as parents. And that distance will be greatly reduced, and it will not be an incline anymore. It will be virtually at grade. So I'll go ahead and this is our proposed first floor of the addition, and you can see the pink area in the L shape is the elevator, and just north of that is our vestibule and new entry, proposed entry. We're going to be adding classrooms on the first floor. The new administration will be moving there, and where the existing administration in the old building will be renovated classroom. One of the assets that this building had was in 1995, this was turned into a special high school, I believe, for a time. And so renovations were done on this, and this building is not in as much need of renovation of the inside as some of the other schools like Rancho Villa. The second floor will be all classrooms with the stair at the north end and then the elevator there in the south. And we tried to locate the elevator in that junction of the two the existing building and the new proposed building so that it's most centrally located to where we need it. These are proposed elevations. The existing school you see on the east elevation, it's to the left, and then we've got a little glass connector to the new proposed building. The new proposed building is taller because currently the parapets on the existing building are only about 2 feet tall. We're going to extend those high enough so that we can hide the rooftop units that will be up there and will not be able to be seen. Then you can see the north elevation, the new addition is coming at you on the right side there. And then the west elevation, it's the new elevation is on the left. The glass connector there is in the center, and the exterior of the existing building is on the right. We're not going to be able to match the brick on this, and so what we did was we went in and picked the brick on this building has a kind of a blend like a tweed, and we took 2 colors out of that blend that we got very, very close to, and we're going to use that in this addition. And although they will not exactly match, we think they'll be tasteful enough and they'll articulate well with the existing brick and look like it was always intended to be added on like that. Here is a view looking into that. The new entry there is at the inside, and this is a little blow-up of it, where you will enter the school now. And the elevator will be directly to the left of that. And then on the north side, this is going to be the what we propose, the entry for the students right off of the drop-off. It will be in that stair tower there and down at the grade level. We've already done a color board and gone through this selection with staff and with Oklahoma City maps. And here's kind of an interior rendering of what that entry vestibule adjacent. The elevator will be located a little bit higher, and then there will be a handicap ramp, which is what you're standing on and looking at in this perspective. Project schedule, if we're fortunate to get your approval today, and I think here's the last approval that we need, we'll start construction documents, and we'll have 90 days to complete those, and then we will go out to bid sometime in November, and we hope to be under construction mid-January, and we think it'll take about a year to complete. Above that, you see our cost estimate, and currently we're showing that we're $463 under budget. Now, I hope it holds, but we'll see. Questions?
I don't know if this was part of the project, but there used to be a tunnel under 23rd Street that I assume was built when people did enter from 23rd Street. Is there any plan to close off that tunnel?
That tunnel was closed off and then reopened at the request of the parents and the students, and that tunnel is currently open right now. And believe it or not, it's amazingly graffiti-free. I've been through that tunnel several times, and our proposal right now is to keep that tunnel open, and that's because some of the students in that neighborhood live north of 23rd, and that allows them to come under the tunnel and not ever have to cross 23rd Street to get to school. So at this point, sir, we're not going to close it off. We're going to leave it open. And it's an amazingly good condition for it. I think it got closed off. I used to live in Cleveland neighborhood when I was first married, and it was closed off then, and that was 1977. And I think that it got reopened somewhere in the late 90s after that high school got reinstated into the school, and they got the tunnel open, and it remains open right now.
Any other comments? If not, I'd recognize a motion for approval.
Move to approve.
Have
Design.
a second?
Second.
Cast your votes. Thank you. Approved.
Thank you. We'll begin work.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Next items on the agenda is approved change order number 1 for Coolidge Elementary School. Mr. Wayne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This change order is for $5,343. It's for 7 items. It includes 21 extra working days, which includes some items for various work, but mostly due to weather. This is our first change order on this project, and the project's 75% complete, and so we've had a really low percentage of change orders thus far on this project. The most significant, and these are virtually all credits, again, it's a minus $5,343. It's not an add. I may have not been very clear with that, but the biggest is some savings that were realized in a vapor barrier. And so in total, we're going to be under the original contract amount by 0.1%, and we do recommend approval.
Any comments? I recognize a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second. Cast your vote. Thank you. Approved. Next item is approve a change order number 4 for Hoover Elementary School.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hoover, 65% complete, and this is a single item change order. You'll notice in the memo that we provided to you, it's for lead paint abatement in the amount of $49,221. The rules for lead paint abatement changed this past spring, and so this was something that was not anticipated with the bid on this project. Lead paint is viewed very much like asbestos remediation in that there's containment requirements now that are being imposed, and we're having to make some changes to some of our construction methods as a result. And so this follows the DOL procedures for lead paint abatement. The work is necessary, and we are recommending approval of this change order. The total change orders, including this one, number 4, will raise the percentage to 2.8% on this project.
Any comments? Not, I'd recognize a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Second. I have a second. Cast your votes. Approved. Thank you. Next item is approved change order number 3 for Lee Elementary School. Mr. Winter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's 60% complete, and we've hurdled the biggest issue, which was a part of the auditorium reconstruction that I think we addressed in our prior 2 meetings. There's a lot of work that was involved with that, but now we're moving forward. The largest item on this change order, which there are 5 items totaling $19,838, is item number 2. There's a new ramp that's required for some kitchen access that was not included in the original drawings. With this change order, we'll be at 5%, and we are recommending approval.
Any comments? Not, and recognize a motion for approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Cast your votes. Approved. Next item is approved change order number 3 for Sanwadi Elementary School. Mr. Winter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're nearly complete at Stanwady Elementary. It's 95%. There are 4 items included on this change order, $23,448. The lion's share of this change order is on item number 1, and there's some existing heating and cooling units that, upon final inspection by the mechanical code inspectors, were determined to require some upgrades to the condensate piping and to some of the other venting requirements that are to modernize these. And so the total cost of that individual item is over $22,000. Total changes on the project are 3.3%, and we recommend approval.
Comments? Not, and recognize a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a second. Cast your vote. Approved. Thank you. Approved change order number 3 for Scheidler Elementary School.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is our last change order for your consideration today, $34,861. Scheidler's about 80% complete. There's no days included on this change order, and will raise its total to 3%. This is an item that we were originally scheduled to try to salvage the driveway at the school. It looked like it could be repaired, but upon further investigation by the contractor, it's been recommended to be totally replaced. And so this additional cost will provide a new drive for that school as a part of the construction package. Meets the requirements, and we recommend approval.
Have any comments? I'd recognize a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Cast your votes. Approved. Thank you. Update status for Oklahoma City MAPS program. Mr. Winter.
Thank you. We've had little change in the last month. We're still managing over 20 construction projects and nearly 30 design projects. The last of those 8 architectural contracts are now underway, and so work is proceeding very quickly into this next year as we complete the designs on the final maps for kids' schools. We received bids this morning on Sequoia Elementary. It was a project that was budgeted about $4.3 million. It, too, was recommended, or at least identified by the architect, that it was going to be about a $4.5 million project. The bids came in at almost $4.6. So over the PIP, it's about $330,000. Over the architect's estimate, it was about $80,000. We are still evaluating those bids, and it is something that we'll bring back to you at the next meeting for consideration. Northwest Class and High School bids next week, so that's next on the list. As we go into the month of August, we're bidding every week this month. We have no bids in September, but then we have 2 or 3 that are scheduled for October. The ID9 bond issue, as we talk about programmatic updates, the draft documents that we mentioned at the last meeting are nearing completion of the review, and we plan to bring those back for approval by the Board, Trust, and City Council at the end of this month and in the 1st of September. And so we'll be putting together those for further discussion. And I think as the last item, just for your consideration, there's no action on this today, but as we move forward and we're looking at trying to further reduce paper and things with our agendas, we're going to maybe poll the trustees to see if you might be interested in receiving agendas completely on an electronic basis via email. We have the ability to create Adobe Acrobat or PDF files of the agendas. Obviously, some of the reports are very large, and those are things that we can upload to the city's website and make readily available for download, but we can get to you in a more timely fashion and also less waste by emailing those agendas. And so just let us know. We will be sending out an email to just poll the trustees to see what your preference might be. And if it's something that you're interested in, please respond, and we may look to that on our next meeting. I don't have any further updates, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Winter. Is there any comments from trustees, staff, or citizens? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you.